calling all educators with a passion for teaching and a health for faith. Get ready for a transformative journey with the Educators with Oil podcast, where host Ronnette Branham is dedicated to helping teachers become better through biblical strategies.
Hello, people. Welcome back to Educators with Oil. I am your hostess, Ronnette Branham. Here is where purpose meets the classroom and the oil flows. Thank you for joining me today. I have a great episode planned for today, but first I just wanted to talk to you about this journal. I'm looking forward to people getting them. I just got a word that more people bought, and so I see that people are buying them. People bought them when I was at our school district function that we had. That was exciting. People came up to me. I actually signed the books, and a lady came to me on my job, and she said how much she loves writing. She loves journaling, and that she has prompts actually to actually write in her journal, and she loves it. It causes her to think and dwell on what happened during the day, and then how she's growing personally. So that is great right there. So I'm looking forward to more people coming and saying they have purchased journals and they're actually using the journals, because they are a blessing. They are a blessing to me as I write in the journal. So that is something that I'm just excited about, just having those. So let's get in. What we're going to talk about today is something that every teacher, knows too well, is that's frustration. Have you ever walked in the classroom before you sit down, your coffee, your tea, and bam, students are tattling, one's crying, the internet is down, somebody's whining, that kind of day. So I just want to stop right there, because yesterday morning, what I do is I plan my episodes prior. I don't wait like to this week. Maybe sometimes I do it like the very week before, but I try to plan 4 weeks out, right? Just in case I don't have a guest or something. I have episodes planned out. And so I planned today's episode, and then yesterday, like, I'm going to say the enemy, I'm going to say the air, the wind blew in, said, oh yeah, you watch this, watch what happens today. See if you're going to be able to talk about this tomorrow, because your episode is about that frustration. I walked in the classroom, I kid you not, yesterday. I had a student whining. I don't know what he's whining about. He was whining. Had another little girl. She wanted to stop talking about whatever she wanted to talk about, but she was hopping all around the classroom, going from person to person. And another little kid, he was challenging me. He was just challenging me right to my face. He didn't care. He said this is what he wanted to do, and this is what he said, and this is what he asked for, and we have whole procedures going on. And I was like, whoo, Lord Jesus, what's happening here? And it just seemed like chaos running rampant in my classroom. But I had a thing. I was like, Lord, help me. And then you remember, you have to put your foot down. You have to be strong. Just walking in peace doesn't mean letting them run rampant and do whatever they want. No, we have to understand that peace comes from within. So here's today's episode. We have to go from frustration to faith, because truthfully, you can't always control your classroom, but you can govern what? You can govern your spirit. You can absolutely govern your spirit. I have this. And so let's be real. Teaching will test every fruit of the spirit that you claim to have. Love, joy, peace, even those low-hanging fruit, that faithfulness, that gentleness, that self-control, right? You might say, Lord, I know you called me. We talked about that last week. I know you called me, right? I know you called me. But did you call me today? Did you really mean for me to come to school today? Did you actually? So, you have some fruit that everybody can see. Everybody can touch that fruit that you have. And you're like, all right. I'm kind. I'm kind, right? And then it's going to test you. Sometimes that teaching, it's going to test you. And so this is where we are. Just that makes me remember Proverbs 16:32. Better a patient person than a warrior, one with self-control than one who takes the city. So it's better to have self-control than you be a fighter. You be somebody who people think is so strong, right? So when we think about power, we think about control. Sometimes it doesn't mean about controlling your classroom, because you can't control people. No matter what you say, no matter what you do, you cannot control these people. But you can control who? Their strength and power in self-control. And that is something that we sometimes we have to understand, right? We have to understand that. So let me try to see how I'll get to that next slide. So, we have to worry about going from frustration to our power of our self-control, right? So we have to think about what that means in our classroom. How do we get a calm classroom? We can't just make the classroom calm, and we can't reach for peace out of the classroom. We have to have peace from us. That self-control that is within us, we have to draw that peace out. We have to be calm. We have to calm me before we calm them. There's no way you can calm them, right, without having peace inside. I don't know how you do it, if you can do it or not. I'm really not sure that we can do it, right? So I'm doing a few things at the same time. So sometimes that peace that we look for is not about the children. It's not about the students. It's not about it's more about us. It's not, frustration. Sometimes it's about the system. Sometimes the system is a little bit, we have to work our system. We have to make what we're doing work. So like I had to do this morning and yesterday. I do it every morning. I greet my students, right? As soon as they come in the classroom, I greet them. They lined up outside my door. But today I had to make an announcement before I greeted the students. We had to have a conversation yesterday at lunchtime, this morning, coming in the classroom this morning, coming in after lunch, because these students think they're going to come in all riled up from outside, from playing, from home, from the gym, wherever. And then they're just coming in the classroom and they're all over the place. So I greet my students, good morning, how are you? And thank you for asking me, all that good stuff, right? So that usually grounds them a little bit. But what I'm finding now is yesterday, it made me really, really, really see. I had to stop them and have a whole conversation. When we go in the classroom, we're going to rest a bit. We go in the classroom, we're going to walk in quietly. They know they're walking quietly. I had to stop them again, and we had to have a new conversation. We're going to walk in the classroom quietly. We're not coming in telling on people and telling what happened in the gym. I picked my students up from the gym, right? We're not after lunch. You're going to come in and rest your head for 3 minutes. We have to get grounded again. We're just not coming in with all of that energy from the recess, from outside, from running and jumping. So sometimes we have to stop and pause and see what's happening. Really. So I had to stop and say that. So then sometimes we're trying to pour from empty cups, right? If you're a different kind of teacher, right, in the district, your principal says you need to cover this class or cover that class last minute. You have lesson plans for your ESL students, for your what will you call those resource students or whatever, or you're an assistant and you're planning to work with your teacher for this, but then you have a sub-cert, or you are a teacher and then they need an extra person because we don't have enough subs. You already have your plan, and then you're coming into that. So sometimes we're like, oh, let's take a deep breath. And so sometimes you're frustrated and you can't. We're trying to get that peace out of all of that chaos, and it doesn't work like that. We can't. There's no way. So we have to understand that the peace is not going to come out of that. And we're trying to get the kids to calm down. They're feeding off of your energy, right? They're feeding off of your energy. And we don't want the kids to feed off of that anxiousness. We don't want the students to feed off of that frustration, right? We don't want that. So we want to try to find that peace. And where's the peace going to come from? We're trying to squeeze some peace out of something that they don't even possess. But God reminded me that the oil doesn't flow from chaos. And I said that, and I keep saying it. It comes from stillness. So we have to, when we feel that pressing, we're going to know that is where that peace is going to come from. So remember that that's a process of oil flowing. You know that we've been hearing that all of our lives. Go to church and we talk about that pressing floor and all that kind of stuff, where they get the olive oil from. They had to press those olives. That's what's happening. And then we have to understand, we really do have to understand that that's actually what's happening. And so how do we go from there? I think it's what happens sometimes when I'm talking. I feel like I'm rushing. Like I don't want to rush when I have a guest, and you know, this is how I talk. When I have a guest, I can pace it, right? And I can talk to them, they talk to me, but I'm talking to you. So it's like, okay, if you have any comments, any questions, anything, because what happens is no matter what you do in life, we're going to come up with frustrations, things that are going to frustrate us, and we need to be able to still pour out our oil. We still need to walk in the spirit, right? We still need to bear that fruit, right? You know, we're walking in the spirit, and then our fruit is like kind of non-existent sometimes. But we have some, maybe they're small fruit. I don't know. Sometimes, you know, you got some love, you got some kindness in you, but sometimes somebody got to pull it out of you, or you have to sit back and relax and walk in the spirit. So this is what I'm saying. Whatever business you're in, whatever career you're in, sometimes you feel like you're being pressed, or you feel like you're working in chaos. You feel like you're working in a stressed out environment, and then you're trying to say, Lord, where's the peace? But the peace has to come from us. And so we want to know, this is what we really want to know, is how do we govern our spirit when we're saying that we need peace? How are we going to do that? What does it look like if we're walking in peace? What does it sound like? You know, we have to take daily reality checks. One of my coaches, I heard him say this morning, actually, I guess he spoke about it Saturday, and he was saying how he gets frustrated when he takes that reality check, that daily check or that yearly check, and he looks and says, does what I envision my life to look like, or these situations, these relationships to look like, what I envision them to look like, do they actually look like that? Are they aligned, right? And so what do you really want your classroom to look like? Does it look like you want it to look? You know, do you envision your classroom nice and calm and peaceful, the students working, answering questions, working in their groups, coming to you for a small group? Does it look like that? And if it doesn't, that's where the frustration comes in. And he said that, and that hit. It's like so perfect with this. And I listened to that on my way home and this morning also. And it's so real. That's why we're frustrated in our classrooms. Like I said, I had 3 students acting out at the same time, first thing in the morning. It wasn't even 9:00. And I was like, oh, Lord, you know, come on now. Where's this peace that you talk about, right? So we have to be able to find it. How are we going to find it? It comes out of calm. It does not come out of frustration. There's no way you can get peace out of frustration. You can calm that frustration with that peace. That's just something that we must know, because this doesn't like. So we have to take that reality check, right? And govern our spirits. See if it looks like what we want it to look like. You know, pause before, you know, before we answer that child. You know, take a pause, you know, because pausing before we respond, sometimes silence is our superpower. We have to know that sometimes you don't have to answer everything. You don't have to address everything. Maybe you have to address it, but not right away, right? Sometimes you have to address things a little while later after you relax and pause. So you don't always need to answer right away. Peace gives you that perspective. So if you take a break in it, then you have to see it a little differently. You'll look at it from another angle, right? You will. So sometimes you pause, sometimes you take these short prayers throughout the day, right? Sometimes you have to pray right then in the moment. Lord, give me peace right now, Lord, right? Help me right now. It's as simple as help me, right? I don't mean a 30-minute you get down on your knees devotional at your desk. You have a class, right? Maybe it's between those classes, right? Sometimes just a quick walking down the hall in the hallway while you're passing out papers, help me, Lord, right? We have to do that because sometimes it has to be immediate. You have to have that immediate peace right then and there. You know, when you're going to pick up your class, when you're going to meet your class after lunch or wherever, you know, so we have to protect our peace like it is. We have to protect our peace like it is our paycheck. You know, I remember I was talking to somebody. We have this summer savings, right, with this credit union, and what they do is mail the check to us, right? They mail the check, a summer savings. Just think about that. 10% of your salary from the whole school year. They're going to take that 10%. They're going to mail that thousands of dollars. I said thousands because it's thousands of dollars check mailed to your house. I'm calling that place. I'm looking in the mail. I'm worried. Where is that check? Make sure, because I don't know if you like me, have a mailman like me. Our mailman will deliver our mail 2 blocks over. Same numbers, 2 blocks that way or this way. And I'm getting people's mail. So one time I didn't even get a check. It wasn't the summer, but it was a check anyway. And I didn't get it. So I was working, trying to find where that check was. That's how we have to protect our peace. We have to look for that peace until we find it. We have to work on that peace until we grab a hold of it. We know it's ours, right? So guard it because it's not because it is what keeps us effective, right? Because you can't be effective in chaos. There's no way. You can't be if you're projecting that chaos, right? Can't be effective. You're effective if you are walking in the peace, right? And peace is not the reward for good behavior. Your students are behaving, and all of a sudden you see peace. No, because the students cannot be behaving well, right? And you still have peace. It's your weapon against burnout, against stress. You know how we always, that's one thing I talk about all the time in talking about people being burned out because they forgot what they're there for, or essentially they don't have the peace of God that passes all understanding. That I could tell you could take that to the bank. Like sometimes you don't have that peace. Sometimes you don't have it. But once you have that peace and you're in the midst of all that, like yesterday afternoon, my students were no different in the afternoon than they were in the morning. I was different. I was walking in that, right? I was walking in it. There was that kind of thing happening within me. So I won't be burned out. There's times when I feel like I want to act like everybody else and talk about that burnout. You know, we always want to talk about burnout. People are burned out. But we have to walk in it. We have to walk in that peace. And you won't be burned out if you're walking in the peace of God in your classroom. You know, don't worry about the stressors of the students. Don't worry about the chaos, because this is what it is. We just have to walk in our peace, right? So here's what you do. This is what I do and other people who I've spoken with do when they're feeling that frustration, and that frustration is trying to take over. This is what I do. Let me see. Some people, I do it sometimes, but not that often. But I think I'm going to use it right now for transitions. When it's ready, when the students, you play some instrumental, you can play worship music. I want to play the words. I will play the instrumental worship music. I'm pretty sure you can find some Fred Hammond instrumental, right? Play that. And when the students hear this song, this tune, this music, they'll know it's time to pack up whatever they're doing, that they're working on, and get ready for the next. So that's that transition music, and it's resetting you. They don't understand how it's resetting them at the same time because it's worship music. You know, it's more calming, you know, so it just resets your students and you at the same time. Another thing you could do is have a peace corner. I have that. Last year, I had the affirmations up all around it, 2 blue papers like that calming blue, that baby blue, and had borders, and it had these affirmations. This year, I never got a chance to put up the blue background, which I'm going to do. I don't even care. I have to take the time to do it. And because I have these anchor charts, I think my anchor charts are too big. They're kind of causing a little bit of frustration too. But because I need to figure out how to make my anchor charts smaller. Why do they have to be that big? I don't know. That's just the paper we have, and we fill it up. So I'm going to make that calm down corner again, that peace corner. I have a big beanbag chair. It's a nice soft chair. Use that as a spot, and then have affirmations. We control our choices. Peace lives here. This is a restful place. Whatever. Have pictures of the ocean. I love the ocean. Have pictures of maybe like the wooded area. Whatever nature looks like to you. Whatever calm looks like to you. Have pictures there all around that in that calm peace corner. That's another thing. So play that reset music, right? Have that calm peace corner. We all need a peace corner. I don't care how old your students are. Sometimes you need to be in that peace corner yourselves, right? Then another rule is a deep breath rule. Before you address a behavior, take a deep breath. Breathe in patience, right? Breathe in patience. Breathe out pride. I'm proud, right? This is what's happening, right? This is going, right? This is a great class. I love this class, right? Breathe it in. Take your time. Don't rush it. Take deep breaths. There's something, it was like 4-4-4, I think. Breathe in 4 seconds. Hold it 4 seconds. Breathe it out 4 seconds. I know there's another one, 7-4-8-7 or something. Depends on your practice. Take the time to breathe in. Hold it. Let it out the same amount of time. That will work. Breathe it in 4 seconds. Hold it 4 seconds. Breathe it out 4 seconds. I promise the next time when you want to, if you do that just even one time, and then you want to address the student that you need to address, it'll be a more calm situation, right? Not saying you're not firm with the student or the students. Not saying you're not taking control. When I say taking control, meaning you're the teacher and you're guiding, facilitating what's happening. Not saying you don't do that, but still it'll come out differently when you take a pause and then address the students. So I will tell you that this works. It works absolutely. The breathing and in those breathing, in that breath, in those breaths, also you could breathe in, right? Say a prayer at the same time, because you can think and breathe. We can think and breathe. Say a prayer. Lord, I'm breathing in this patience. I'm breathing in this patience, right? I'm breathing out patience, right? However you want to do it. Just it'll work. That's that. So you could say what it is. So this, we're going to stop right here and ask this question. What is actively stilling your peace right now? Is there something that's actively stilling your peace right now? Is it? Sometimes there's chaos in our homes. There's chaos outside of our homes. There is worry, things that we're worried about. We're worried about our children. We're worried about bills. There's a lot of things that we have that is trying to steal our peace. Sometimes, like we already know, sometimes it's our curriculum is a lot, right? And so we have to understand that this is something that is happening in our classroom. We need to work through it, but don't let it steal our peace. We still have to walk in that peace. Always, we have to still walk in that peace. Let me see. This is one of those breathing times. So, and sometimes, that's another thing, right? Sometimes, because we have to have that peace. We have to walk in our peace because our students feed off of our energy. If we walk in and we're frustrated, we're in a rush. We're rushing because we came to work late or whatever it is. Our students feed off of that. So sometimes I have a mirror in my classroom. I remember I passed it around. I don't think I did it this school year. I could have passed the mirror around and let the students say something nice and wonderful to themselves, right? So sometimes we have to stop and look in our mirror. We also have a mirror in our classroom, and we have to look in our and speak calm to ourselves, right? Speak calm to ourselves in that mirror, right? Look at it and set that tone for our classrooms. We don't have time to come in here stressing out our students. I promise you, you go in the hallway one day and you see a teacher, you hear a teacher yelling at her students, making all this noise, right? With her students. I promise you those students are not calm. I promise you those students are making a lot of noise. She's yelling, they're yelling, he's yelling, they're yelling, she's uptight, they're uptight, they're all over the place. I don't know. But I promise you they're feeding off of that energy. You have to take a breath. You have to stop and pause and calm yourself. Really. And again, that comes from taking in that word. We have so many scriptures that we can pull from in the Bible about the peace that passes all understanding. We could say that time and time again all day, and then we'll think about it. We'll walk in it, right? That's just something that we have to understand, right? Again, we have to understand. And then we're talking about governing our spirits, right? We have to talk about the self-control, through Christ, right? Self-control. How are we getting that self-control? It's self-control through Christ, not willpower, because we could try to will ourselves, that willpower, try to say what we're going to do, but our weapon is prayers throughout the day, right? That's our weapon, right? We know from, I'm sorry, I'm looking so many places at the same time. So we have to understand how our oil flows. Where do we get it? Every single day. So when we choose peace over frustration, that's something that's going to help, right? That's something that's going to help us, right? We have to look again at the pause, the prayer, the shield, the shield of faith. Remember, we're talking about faith. We're talking about the weapon against this chaos. The weapon is peace, right? The weapon is prayer. We have to have that in our lives in order to walk in peace. So remember, peace is our weapon. So I went a little slow with these slides. So we have that peace corner sitting in our classroom. I had my granddaughter when she was in second grade. I teach second grade. It's funny because I felt some kind of way only because we get caught up in religion, right? My granddaughter's teacher, she used to have time for them to relax, and they would sit and I don't know, they didn't meditate. She was probably meditating, and she had them to relax, and they stretched out on the floor, found the spot, and they relaxed, they breathed, they took deep breaths. And so you actually can teach your students breathing techniques. If you teach your students breathing techniques, teach them about that peace corner. When they get to that peace corner, they can have these breathing techniques, right? These calming. You might have a crayon in a coloring book, or crayons in a coloring book in a corner, in the peace corner, or have like a little, like a caboodle or something where you have different things in that calm down corner, in that peace corner that the students can actually use. And that will work. People won't say you're trying to teach these kids, but we do that breathing exercise. We teach that because students need to have some kind of coping mechanism when they're overexerted, when they have too much going on, right? They need that. So again, the oil only flows when we choose peace over frustration. That I can't say that anymore than how I'm saying it right now. I hope I don't sound like I'm just all over the place, because I'm not. I'm remembering some things that I wanted to say, and then it's coming back, and then I'm like, oh yeah. So remember, your peace affects your students, your coworkers, the entire school culture. Because you walk around, people are gathering that peace from you. People see that joy from you, and they love talking to you, right? Watch it, because you are equipped, anointed, and assigned to be in that school. So how can you be frustrated and stressed out by the place that you're assigned to. That doesn't even make sense. That doesn't even make sense. So we have to walk in that, walk in that anointing that we have, because God gave it to us. He sent us there. He actually did send us there. So that doesn't mean that you won't be frustrated. It doesn't mean you won't be frustrated because the class. But if you do get frustrated, you won't. It doesn't have to last. It doesn't have to have the final say over your spirit, over your day, over your hour. It might have a moment, but it doesn't have to have the final say over your day. Because like I said, yesterday I went in the classroom first thing in the morning and my students were off the hook. It was like, what is happening here? Right? I had to stop and say, nah, this is a lot. No, we're not doing this. Sit yourself down right now, right? Have a seat. This is not what we're doing. You're going to have to close your mouth right now. You're not walking in here whining right now. And who are you talking to? Right? I had to get myself together. Yes, I paused, but I had to get myself together. We're not doing this. I don't know. So you have to stand firm, but at the same time, you are walking in peace, right? Your faith, when your faith is anchored and who you're called to be, you're going to stop trying to fix everything, everybody. And you're going to start, instead of trying to fix everything and everybody, you're going to start letting that oil flow, right? You're going to start letting that grace flow that's already there. Because I don't know what to say, but that is something that we have to be grounded in. We absolutely have to be grounded in. Like, this is who we are, and we are anointed to be here. Because the enemy wants to wear us out. He wants to make you feel like this is a lot. This is too much. Not this is a lot. This is too much. Because it could be a lot. Things could be a lot. That was a lot yesterday in my classroom, but it wasn't too much. I had to get grounded. I had to be anchored, right? And say, where are you in this, God? And then he let me know I was equipped to do it. I'm assigned to do it. I'm anointed to be here, right? And so what you gonna do about it, right? What you gonna do about it? You can't cry. You can't be frustrated till it takes you out for the rest of the day. No, I had to breathe and I had to be refilled in that moment. That's what I had to do. So because when you show up in peace, your students feel it. I said it again. Everybody sees it. We are called to shift the atmosphere. Absolutely called to shift the atmosphere. So let me see. I have one more slide, I think. Kind of like these slides. I think I have to remember to take it down, because then I'm just in the little corner, right? So remember that faith is greater than frustration. Remember that. Peace is greater than having control over that classroom, right? Absolutely is. There's nothing better than having peace. It's gonna take control of the classroom. So repeat this out loud really quickly. My peace is my weapon. My patience is my strength. My classroom is my assignment. Because sometimes we forget that that's our assignment. My peace is my weapon. Yeah, I'm laughing because I thought about it from yesterday. Yes, peace is what was my weapon yesterday. I had to get calm. So the same students were in the afternoon as in the morning, but I was in peace, and then it calmed everything, right? My patience is my strength. We have to have patience with our students, right? And that's how we get strong. And our classroom definitely is our assignment. Every time you feel frustration rising this week, I'm going to say this week, today's only Tuesday, I want you to pause and say, peace, be still. Starting with me, right? Feel the frustration coming up, the chaos coming up. Say it, think about it. Peace, be still. Starting with me. So that you are not called to survive the classroom. We are not called to survive the classroom. We are called to do what? We're called to shift it. We have to shift it. We have to. We can't. The classroom cannot control us. It absolutely cannot. Curriculum can't control us. Our administration can't control us. We have to shift that atmosphere. And if we don't, if we meet the kids where they are, meet their energy, it's not going to work, right? It's not going to work. So remember that where purpose meets the classroom and the oil flows, that is where we are, right? In our classroom. So I just want to say, I don't know if I rushed. I hope I didn't rush. Hope you got something out of this, because this was an episode in real time for me. Real time. When I say real time, yesterday. Today, I saw the difference because I had to anchor myself again. I saw the difference in the afternoon and early in the morning. Actually, I saw the difference. I had to anchor myself and anchor myself in the word, anchor myself in the peace, right? Anchor myself with that deep breathing and that peace corner. My peace corner was at my desk. And what happened too is when they came in after lunch, I sat down at my desk. I was able to gather everything that I needed for math, take my time, and they had to relax for 3 minutes, sit down and calm and quiet. I left the lights off. It's not like it's that dark because the windows are open. We don't have screens or anything. But, I modeled it. They saw me peaceful, sitting there calmly. And by the time the 3 minutes was up, I was at the front of the classroom, ready for math. Everybody, as I was walking, make sure you have out what you need for math, right? And we're ready to go. Absolutely ready to go. Hey, Vera, how are you? And so this is just how we have to walk. I don't care what you teach, who you teach. We have to walk in that. So remember, if this encouraged you, share it with another teacher who needs to be reminded that peace still works, right? So until next time, keep your oil full and your peace intact. That is something we just have to know. Period. We just have to know it. Keep that oil full. Let's stay full. Let's walk in that peace and know that we are called to this job. No matter what your job is, I don't care. Whatever your job is, that's your mission. That's your oil. Your oil is there, right? It's your classroom, your mission, your oil, right? That's just what it is. And remember to subscribe, like, share, and subscribe to Ronnette Branham and Educators with Oil. This is so exciting to me. Yes, I said, protect that peace like it is your paycheck. Like I want to say it again. In the summer, I get these summer savings checks. I'm not going to get, well, we'll have a small one this year because I moved my savings someplace else. But they mail me the whole check. They don't direct deposit it. They mail a check, right? They mail a check to me. And the last one was a lot, thousands and thousands of dollars. And they're mailing it to me, and I'm worried about that check. I'm like, guarding mailman, where's it come? Did you mail it today? When did you mail that check? I need to be on the lookout for this check. That's how we have to be for our peace. We have to be on the lookout for our peace. That's as plain as I can make it. Protect that like it's your paycheck. Protect it. Know that God gave us this peace. We have to guard it. We have to guard it. That's just true, right? We have to guard it. So again, I want to thank you for tuning in to Educators with Oil podcast with Ronnette Branham. I appreciate you. I thank you. And again, take care and have a blessed rest of your day.
Subscribe to Educators with Oil podcast on your preferred platform and join Ronnette on this mission to empower teachers through the wisdom of the Bible. Because when biblical strategies meet the classroom, extraordinary teaching happens.
Educators, let's shine a light on our classrooms. See you on Educators with Oil podcast, where teaching and faith unite.